All right, this is notes 1-6. Okay, what's absolute value? First off, what does absolute value mean? It's the distance from 0, right? Okay, so if I'm on the negative side of the number line and I was at -4, it is how many units from 0? 4. You would always, if I'm on the positive side, it was 4, I would say, how many units? 4. I would always express it in a positive way, okay, or a positive answer because it's a measure of distance, okay? So now, on these guys, you're going to have to make sure you give yourself both options, the positive and the negative version of it. So we'll be having to flip some signs. I just answered your number 1 for you. It can be that x, so your absolute value, whatever I fill it, the variable, the x that I fill in, the value I'm filling in, I could fill in one of 2 answers and get that 4. I could go x equals 4, okay? So I could fill in x equals 4, or I could fill in x equals -4. Both of those, if plugged in for x, and I said absolute value of it, would equal 4. Don't worry about preliminary. We are not doing preliminary ever. Okay, so here we go. So put -4 on our number line and a 4. Obviously, they're both equal to, so it would be colored in points. Okay, just 2 dots. There's no shading left and right because this is not an inequality. That's an equal. Okay, it's an equality. All right, number 2. Okay, this is where we start kind of seeing it more. See how we did on the first one? We did a -4, and then we did the opposite. A +4, and then we did the opposite, a -4. Same deal on number 2. First, we want to do it just like it looks, which is 3x plus 4 equals 10. And then I'm going to go ahead and work it out as a plus. Work it out on the side over here. On this side, the opposite. 3x plus 4 equals -10. Okay. All right, so solving this first side first, the left side first. Okay, is our x already on the left side of the equal sign? Yes, so I just write it down. 3x. There's no more x's, so I close the bridge. What was already waiting on the other side? 10. What am I moving across? The 4. When it crosses the bridge, it becomes a -4. So 3x equals 10 minus 4 is 6. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. We agree? Yes. X equals 2. Super simple, easy stuff. Okay. Work it on the other one. The x is already on the left side. So 3x equals what was already waiting on me? -10. Take the 4 across again. That's a -4. So 3x equals, what's -10 minus 4? -14. Last step, divide by 3. And x equals, whew. Anybody? Calculator? It's negative, we know that because it's a negative divided by positive. 4.6. Boom. Box it, circle it, square it, rectangle it. Okay, throw them on the number line. Obviously, -4.6 goes over here on the left. 2 goes over here on the right. And they're equal, so those are solid points. Too easy. Same thing for number 3. Gotta do the positive and the negative version of it. 13 minus 5x is equal to 2. And on the other side, 13 minus 5x is equal to -2. Solving this one, the x is already on the left, so it's a negative 5x. 2 was already waiting on me, right? 13 carried across becomes a negative 13. So negative 5x equals 2 minus 13 is negative 11. Divided by negative 5. And x equals what? Positive 2.2, we agree? Box it, circle it, whatever. Yes.
Would it have to take the absolute value of that size first, though, before you can?
No, no, because when we're correcting for it on the other one where we're doing the negative version of it, so you have a positive and a negative. If you were to plug in 2.2 right now for x and you multiply it back by negative 5, it's going to give you negative 13, okay, which, or I'm sorry, it will give you negative 15, right? Which would then, if you were to subtract the 13, it becomes a negative 2, which comes out as a positive 2. So it corrects itself. The 13, see if I did 5 times 2.2? Because it's about what you're plugging in for the x. It's not about changing the inside to a positive negative. All right, on the opposite side, 13 was already, I'm sorry, negative 5x is already in the correct spot. Equals negative 2. Take your 13 across, it's a minus 13. So negative 5x equals negative 2 minus 13 is negative 15. Divide by negative 5. And x equals 3. Box it, circle it, square it, rectangle it, whatever. So we got first one is 2.2. And put a point. Next one is 3. Put a point. Okay, flip it. Now we're dealing with inequalities. The only difference with inequalities are if it's a less than, you're going to be shaded. Just remember last week when we talked about chips and a drink. If you could go and if you had enough money, you could buy chips and a drink. That meant we shaded in, okay. And then if it was a greater, okay, that meant we could have chips or drink, and that meant the points are shaded out. So if they are shaded in, we got to put it back together because it's coming together. If they're shaded out, then we just leave it there. That'll be our final answer. And that'll make more sense in just a second. Reading that first one that's going on right now, that's telling me the absolute value of 3x minus 4 is what then 8? Less than. So we know it's an and. We know it's going to be a chips and drink. We know it's going to shade inward. Okay, so that means we have to put it back together at the end. So here's what we do. First one we do is exactly like it looks. 3x minus 4 is less than or equal to 8. Then on the other side, we got to flip both the inequality and do the negative. See how we did the negative version on all the other ones, the equal ones? Same thing here, except there's also an inequality involved. We have to flip it. So we'll do 3x minus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 8. So you flip the inequality, and then you do the opposite sign as well. Solving the first one. Is the x already on the left side of the bridge? Yes, and it's a 3x. Close the bridge, and we have 8. What am I taking across? The negative 4 becomes a what? Positive 4. So 3x is less than or equal to 8 plus 4 is 12. Now what? Divide by 3. X less than or equal to 4. Box it, circle it, square it, rectangle it, whatever it. Okay, working the other side. So far, so easy. Okay, 3x is already in the correct spot, so I'm going to put it down. It is greater than or equal to, what was already waiting on me? Negative 8. What am I taking across? Negative 4 becomes a plus 4. 3x is greater than or equal to negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. Divide by 3, right? X is greater than or equal to negative 4 divided by 3 is negative 1.33, so let's do negative 1.3 is fine. Box it, circle it, whatever it. Which one comes first on the number line? Negative 1.3 or 4? Negative 1.3, so we're going to throw that on the number line. Negative 1.3. Open or close circle? Close because it's equal to. Shading which way? X is what?
To the right.
X is greater than, so it's to the right, to the right. Okay, then we have 4, and it's closed because it's equal to. And it says X is less than 4, so it's to the left. See how it's in the middle now? So that means my final answer, okay, the X has to be in the middle. So we're going to rewrite these two guys and squish them together. And here's how we do it. Put your X down. Put your furthest left, which was negative 1.3, down. And put your 4 down. Now we're going to put the signs in. They're the exact signs you've already boxed. They may not look alike, but they're the same. Looking at the negative 1.3, okay, look at the one you boxed. What is the X touching? It's touching the greater than, the fat side. So it has to do that here too. So even though I'm about to write it like this, and it looks like I did opposite signs, did I really? No. The X is still touching the fat side, the greater than. So you still would read it. Why did it go light colored like that? You still would read it. X is greater than. X is greater than negative 1.3. Okay, now on the other side, X is less than or equal to 4. I go ahead and put that in. X is less than or equal to 4. That's my final answer. The signs did not change. The X is still touching the skinny side for the 4, just like it was in the one you boxed to begin with. And the X is still touching the fat side going to the negative 1.3, just like you boxed it to begin with. The only difference is we've put them together. So it has to be back together for the ands, the and statements, the less thans. Okay, moving on to the next one. And what sign is it? It is a greater than, so greater. So it's an or, so that means it's going to be shaded out, so I don't have to put these guys back together at the end. write the first one just like it looks. 6 minus 2x is greater than 14. And then the opposite, 6 minus 2x is less than negative 14. Okay, is the x already on the correct side? Yep, and it's a negative 2x. What's already on the right? Waiting on me. 14. What am I moving across? 6 becomes a negative 6. So negative 2x greater than 14 minus 6 is negative 8. Now what? That's what I said. Positive 8. Good call. Now what? Divide by negative 2. Beep, 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 beep. Bells and whistles. You said divide by a negative. So I've got to flip the inequality. It's now less than. What is 8 divided by negative 2? Negative 4. Okay, go ahead and box it, circle it, square it, whatever it.
Second period tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let's work the other side. Negative 2x is less than negative 14 was already waiting on me. You already told me carry the 6 across. It becomes a negative 6. So we have negative 2x is less than, what's that come out to? Negative 14 minus 6 more. Negative 20. Now what? Divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. X is greater than, because you said beep, 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 bells and whistles. X is greater than 10. Okay, now we're ready to graph it. Negative 4 obviously goes first. Open or closed? Open, because it's not equal to. And it says x is less than negative 4, so I shade to the left. The other one is 10. It is open. X is greater than 10, so I shade to the right. I do not have to put those back together because they are not together. They are split apart. And the last one, is it a greater than or less than? It is a less than, so it's an and. Chip San drink means I got to put it back together at the end. It should be shaded inside. So writing it like it looks, 3 minus x is less than 2. Let's go ahead and make that 3 minus 1x so that we'll remember to divide in a minute. Opposite, 3 minus 1x is greater than negative 2. First one, the negative 1x is already on the left of the bridge, so I write it down. Negative 1x less than, what was already waiting on me? 2. What am I moving across? 3 becomes a negative 3. Okay, negative 1x less than 2 minus 3. What's 2 minus 3? Negative 1. Last step. Divide by negative 1. Beep, beep, beep. Bells and whistles. Flip the inequality. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is a positive 1. Box it, square it, rectangle it, whatever. The other side. Negative 1x greater than negative 2. Take the 3 across. Minus 3. Negative 1x greater than negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Final step. Divide by negative 1. Beep, beep, beep. Bells and whistles. X is now less than 5. So we're ready to graph it. On the number line, 1 comes first. And it would be an open circle because it's not equal to. Shaded which way? To the right. And then we put our 5. It's an open circle. It says x is less than, so I shade to the left. Since it's in the middle, I got to put my x back in the middle. Put my 1 where it belongs and my 5 on the side it belongs. And looking at our graph, x is greater than 1, but x is less than 5. Box it. That is your final answer. Any questions on it?
Yes.
Yes.
What numbers?
You are doing numbers 2, 5, 6, 8, and 10. So on A1-6, we are doing numbers 2, 5, 6, 8, and 10. When you're done, you can turn them in up here.